This is a statue of Ataturk on horseback in Ankara. We are visiting the citadel, which was constructed a long time back by the Romans. Around 400 CE, it used to be a Roman summer capital. Given its altitude, Ankara was a cooler place than the Mediterranean Sea coast. Angora sheep and their wool were found here, from where the name Ankara is derived. When Atatürk was running his revolt against Greece and its western allies, he chose Ankara as his headquarters. It also helped to get away from the tarnished Ottoman past. Some houses inside the walls of the fort are 100 years old. The roads are a jumble of granite stones. When a Turkish commander working for the Allies was sent to the Black Sea coast to disband a Turkish revolt amongst the naval forces, he turned around, gathered the militia under his wing, and marched against the occupation of Turkey. He was Mustafa Kemal, hero of the Gallipoli War, where he pushed back the Allies from the Dardanelles. His troops grew over the next 4 years, smarting under national humiliation, until the Allies recognized the free nation of Turkey as it stands now. A population exchange between Greece and Turkey was effected soon after that. Mustafa Kemal wanted to westernize the nation and instituted drastic reforms. The Arabic script was replaced by the Latin. Dervish orders were abolished. Their religious lodges closed down. Women were given voting rights and asked to discard their hijab. Fez and turban for men were abolished. The Gregorian calendar was introduced. Following the Great Depression in the capitalist world in 1929, Turkey adopted a Soviet-style economy of self-sufficiency, subsidies, and import substitution. Turkish people were urged to take on last names. Mustafa Kemal chose Atatürk, meaning father of the Turks. During the Second World War, Turkey performed a balancing act and tried to stay out from direct involvement in the war. But close to the end, when the Soviets started making overtures into the Bosphorus and Armenian areas, Turkey enlisted for American aid. From 1952 onwards, it has been part of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, headed by America. You see traditional women selling traditional handicrafts, crochet bags, and carpets. And then suddenly in the middle of this archaic setting, you hear Western classical music emanating from a store displaying paintings. Or perhaps it is a museum. If to a visitor this seems a culture shock, I wonder what it would have been for the Turkish people in the 1920s. The traditional Ottoman and Sufi music were not aired in the radios anymore. Instead, Western classical and even Russian folk tunes could be heard. This market is on the steep road going up to the citadel. It has an interesting collection of wedding gowns, the shoulderless Western white dresses, and the traditional gold embroidery on dark-colored velvet. Most weddings now are a blend of the East and Western cultures. The bride rides in on a horse wearing her white gown. She covers her hair when the Qazi blesses the couple, reading from the Quran. The piping sound of the wind instrument, called shanai in India, can be heard. The party begins with Western classical music, followed by French chanson. Then the traditional Turkish music is played, and the ladies and men jump up and hit the floor, jiggling in the traditional way. This is the famous Copper Alley that sells pewterware too. The Museum of Anatolian Civilizations, housed inside the fort walls, has artifacts from the Hittite people, the Urartian, the Phrygians, the Assyrians, the Romans. The Bronze Age reindeer god is a common Hittite symbol, seen in pottery paintings and carpet designs now. There was a temple built by the seafaring Phrygians which the Romans dedicated to Augustus Caesar. Most of what we know about this Roman emperor is from the inscriptions found on this temple in ruins. In the same complex is the sacred mosque of Haji Behram Veli. He started a dervish order, the Bahrami, in the 1500s, which still has followers coming from far to pay their respects. We see here a musical fountain that gets some color too at night. The Anıt Kabir, Atatürk's mausoleum, is built in the Hittite and ancient Anatolian architecture. All foreign diplomats visit here as protocol requires, to pay their respects to the founder of the Turkish Republic. Mustafa Kemal, born in 1881 in the port city of Salonika, now in Greece, avoided religious schools from childhood. As a military commander, he was posted in Libya, Hungary, Thrace, and then led the nationalists to victory to form the Republic of Turkey. He died in 1938 in the Dolmabahce Palace of a cirrhosis of liver. His body was laid to rest in the capital Ankara in Anıt Kabir. Now you see his statue in most cities, his portraits in public places such as restaurants, and a whole avenue in Istanbul has giant photographs of him as a leader, mounted on the wall. A 15-minute documentary in Anıt Kabir shows clippings from his military campaigns and his subsequent days as the first president of the Republic of Turkey. The Kocatepe Mosque has a 16th century architecture with a 20th century technology. It was built in the capital to match the grandeur of the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. In deference to its ancestor, it has 4 minarets, not 6. It took 20 years to build the mosque. It opened in the early 1980s. You can climb 3 stories along the interior periphery and get views of the magnificent construction. And from your mouth will escape the word Mashallah.